Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and all of you who know that the smallest coins can sometimes hold the biggest surprises. If you're the kind of person who checks every piece of change before spending it, or even if you're just now discovering the thrill of coin collecting, you're in for a treat today, because what if I told you that a coin worth just 10 cents, a coin that millions of people have spent, dropped, ignored, or tossed into jars, could actually be worth a small fortune? Yes, we're talking about a dime. But not just any dime. Today, we're diving into the fascinating, unexpected world of the 1980 Roosevelt $1 dime, minted right here in the United States of America. You might have handled dozens of these without a second thought. After all, the Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, created to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. But there's something special about the 1980 version, especially those with certain rare features, unique mint marks, and pristine conditions. These dimes are hiding in plain sight, and one of them could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Stick with us all the way to the end of this video, because we'll reveal how much this seemingly ordinary 1980 dime could fetch in today's collector market, and trust me, you won't want to miss that number. Let's first take a moment to appreciate the history behind this coin. By 1980, the United States was coming out of the economically turbulent 1970s. Inflation had shaken the value of money, and the U.S. Mint was adapting to growing demand for coins across the country. The Roosevelt dime had already become a familiar face in American pockets and purses, but what makes the 1980 edition so noteworthy? This particular year saw dimes struck at both the Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D, mint mark, mints. The San Francisco Mint also issued a limited number of proof dimes, marked with an S. Most of these coins entered circulation without fanfare, and they performed the same duties as always: buying gum, feeding parking meters, or getting lost under couch cushions. But not all 1980 dimes were created equal. Some had subtle, but significant, differences. Variants. Errors. Minting anomalies that escaped the watchful eyes of mint inspectors. These rare characteristics have made specific 1980 Roosevelt dimes incredibly valuable to collectors. And when found in pristine, uncirculated condition, they can command shocking prices at auctions. Let's talk design for a moment. The obverse, or front side, of the Roosevelt dime features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. It's a strong, dignified portrait, with "Liberty" to the left, the motto, "In God We Trust" below the chin, and the date, 1980, neatly placed on the lower right. Depending on the mint, you may also see a small D, S, or nothing at all, which indicates Philadelphia. On the reverse, you'll find a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. The words "United States of America," E pluribus unum, and "1 dime" circle the design. It's clean, symmetrical, and timeless, everything you want in a long-running coin series. But here's where things start to get interesting. Not all of these coins were struck perfectly. Some 1980 Roosevelt dimes were minted with fascinating errors that make them stand out like diamonds in a gravel pit. These aren't damage from circulation. They're factory mistakes that occurred during the minting process, making them rare and highly sought after. What kind of errors are we talking about? Some 1980 dimes were struck off-center, with part of the design missing or shifted. Others had double dies, where parts of the lettering or design appear double due to misalignment during the striking process. There are even clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing, almost like a bite was taken out of it before it left the mint. Then there's the matter of missing mint marks, particularly on proofs. A proof coin from the San Francisco Mint that was mistakenly struck without its S mint mark can fetch huge attention and a high price, but perhaps the most important factor in determining value? Condition. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to assess coin quality. A Roosevelt dime that's been through circulation, jingles in a pocket, scratches, dull shine, might grade at MS 60 or below. But coins that have never been circulated, kept safe in rolls, or passed through generations in airtight cases can grade MS 65, MS 67, or even higher. When a rare error coin meets a pristine grade, you've got a jackpot. Now picture this. you come across a jar of old change at your grandparents' house. You start sorting through it. You see a few dimes, a few pennies, maybe even a buffalo nickel. But then your eye catches a Roosevelt dime from 1980. You inspect it. The design looks slightly off, maybe it's a bit misaligned. The surface is glowing, no scratches, no wear. The details are sharp and full. You check the edge. It's flawless, and suddenly, you realize, this could be it, this could be the kind of coin that changes your life. You send it in for grading, and the results confirm your hopes. It's a mint error coin from 1980. It has a visible die variety. It has never been circulated. And it's been professionally certified as a GEM.SO. How much could this Roosevelt 1 dime from 1980 be worth? Here it comes, the moment you've been waiting for. If you are lucky enough to own a rare 1980 Roosevelt 1 dime with a visible mint error, strong strike, and near perfect condition, graded at the highest levels, it could be worth as much as $37,000. That's right, $37,000 for a 10-cent coin. It may be small in size, but the value packed into this little piece of metal is nothing short of incredible. So before you drop that next dime into a vending machine, or slide it across the counter without thinking, take a closer look. That tiny coin might be hiding a giant secret. Today's video is going to absolutely captivate your attention. So buckle up, because we're diving into the secret life of one of America's most underestimated coins, the 1987 Roosevelt 1 dime. Now, you might be thinking, come on, it's just a dime. What could be so special about a tiny 10-cent coin from the late 80s? Well, prepare to have your mind blown, because this little silver-colored circle carries with it a story of history, hidden value, minting mystery, and potentially, yes, potentially, a price tag that would make your jaw drop. You see, the Roosevelt dime has been a part of American pockets and purses since 1946. Named after President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in honor of his leadership and his role in founding the March of Dimes, this coin replaced the Mercury Dime and became an icon of American currency. But some years, like 1987, produced coins that would go on to become exceptional. Not just because of their design, but because of how rare certain mint versions and error coins have become. Let's set the stage. The year is 1987. Ronald Reagan is president, the stock market is booming, and the Cold War is still going strong. In this dynamic political and economic landscape, the United States Mint was working hard to keep up with coinage demand. Dimes were struck in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint put out millions of these dimes, more than 900 million total in that year, but not all coins are created equal. Some bore tiny but powerful differences that today can mean the difference between 10 cents and a staggering fortune. And today, we'll uncover the secrets that make certain 1987 Roosevelt dimes incredibly rare and valuable. Let's begin with the mint marks. On the obverse of the coin, just above the date, you'll typically find a small letter, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Most 1987 dimes have these marks, which help collectors identify where they were made. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were standard circulation coins, while the San Francisco Mint issued proof coins, specially made coins with high-quality strikes and mirror-like finishes, intended for collectors. While millions were produced, that doesn't mean they all survived. Most dimes were used in everyday transactions. They were passed around, scraped through vending machines, dropped in parking meters, and lived their lives like any other coin, eventually ending up scratched, worn, and forgotten. But a rare few, escaped this fate. Some were kept in pristine rolls, untouched by human hands. Others were tucked away in coin albums or sets. And some were born different. That's where things get really exciting. Because within the massive production runs at each U.S. mint, errors happened. These mistakes, while rare, are a goldmine for collectors. We're talking about coins that were misaligned, struck twice, off-center, or even minted on the wrong metal planchet. Imagine holding a 1987 dime in your hand that has doubling in the lettering, or one that has a dramatic off-center strike, or better yet, a coin that was minted without a mint mark entirely. Yes, those exist too. And collectors are constantly on the lookout for these anomalies. Then there's the proof coins. 1987 S-proof Roosevelt dimes are beautiful, but once in a while, a proof coin is discovered with a minting flaw, like a missing S mint mark, or frosted devices on both sides instead of just one. These cameo and deep cameo dimes can be worth thousands alone if found in flawless condition. Now let's talk about condition. This is one of the most important factors in a coin's value. Professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, use a 70-point scale to grade coins. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A coin graded MS-60 is mint state but barely makes the cut. A coin graded MS-65 is considered gem quality. And if you're lucky enough to own a coin graded MS-68 or higher, you've got something exceptional. The value of a 1987 Roosevelt dime skyrockets when you combine high grade with rarity. Now imagine owning a 1987 Roosevelt dime from the Denver Mint, with a rare mint error like a double die obverse, that's been graded MS-68 by PCGS. That's not just a collector's item, that's an investment. That's a showpiece. That's the kind of coin that goes to auction and leaves audiences stunned. You may be wondering, but what are the odds I actually have a coin like that? Here's the thing, these coins are out there. People find them in inherited collections. They appear in old jars of change. They're hiding in dusty drawers, stuck in between pages of forgotten books, or sitting quietly in cardboard rolls from the bank. You don't need to be a millionaire to find one, you just need sharp eyes, a little knowledge, and the curiosity to look. Let's say one day you're sorting through some old coins. You pick up a 1987 Roosevelt dime. It looks brighter than the others. You flip it over. The strike looks strong. You don't notice any scratches or wear. You begin to suspect, this coin is different. You get it graded. And the results come back, a rare minting error, in near-perfect uncirculated condition. You post it online or submit it to auction. Bidding is fierce. Collectors want it. Dealers want it. Bidders compete, and now, you hold a dime that is no longer worth just 10 cents. So what could it be worth? This is the part of the video you've been waiting for, the moment of truth. A 1987 Roosevelt one dime with a rare minting error, superb strike, and immaculate preservation, officially graded and authenticated, can command a jaw-dropping price of $43,000. Yes, you heard that right. $43,000. That's the power of numismatics, the thrill of discovering. That's something small, something ordinary, something that most people would never look twice at, can be worth more than a luxury car, more than your yearly salary, and in some cases, more than you ever thought possible, and it could be sitting right there, in your pocket, your coin jar, or your family's old collection. So next time you get change back from the store, don't ignore the dimes. Look at the year. Check the mint mark. Inspect the details. Because one day, you might just find yourself holding a hidden treasure. Today, we're about to explore a truly fascinating, historical, and possibly life-changing little coin, one that most people ignore, yet some collectors will pay a small fortune to own. Yes, we're talking about the 1977 Roosevelt one dime from the United States of America. This humble 10-cent piece might seem like just another coin tossed into a piggy bank or dropped into a vending machine, but for a lucky few, this little dime has turned into an unexpected jackpot. You're going to want to stay until the very end, because we'll reveal exactly how much the rarest examples of this coin can be worth, and trust me, the number will blow your mind. Let's start by rewinding time and traveling back to the year 1977. The United States was just recovering from the turmoil of the Vietnam War. Jimmy Carter had been inaugurated as the 39th president. The Star Wars movie had just launched its way into cinematic history. Disco was in full swing. And while all that cultural revolution was going on, the U.S. Mint quietly struck millions of Roosevelt dimes, coins that most people didn't think twice about. But not all of those coins were alike, and certainly not all of them have aged the same. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was a tribute to his leadership and his significant contribution to the March of Dimes, a movement that helped fight polio and improve child health. The coin became a symbol of progress, strength, and unity, and has remained in continuous production ever since. By 1977, the composition of the dime had changed from silver to clad materials, a copper core with layers of nickel on the outside. This switch was made in the mid-1960s due to rising silver prices and to prevent hoarding of coins. So while 1977 Roosevelt dimes don't contain silver, some are worth far more than their metallic content, and we're about to uncover why. The first thing any serious collector looks at is the mint mark. In 1977, the U.S. Mint struck Roosevelt dimes at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a small d; San Francisco, marked with an S, and usually in proof condition. These tiny letters, often overlooked, can make a massive difference in a coin's value. Most people never even notice them. But collectors? They're obsessed with them. That D or S could be the key to unlocking a major treasure. Now here's where things get really interesting. While hundreds of millions of dimes were struck that year, only a few have survived in uncirculated, gem-quality condition. Even fewer have minting errors, those magical little mistakes that happen during production and turn an average coin into a unique piece of history. So what kind of errors should you look for? There are several types. One is the double die, where elements like the date, lettering, or the torch on the reverse side appear double due to a misalignment during the striking process. These are incredibly collectible. Another prized error is the off-center strike, when the design is not properly aligned with the coin blank. The more dramatic the off-center, the rarer the coin becomes. There are also clipped planchet errors, when a part of the coin is literally missing because the blank was improperly cut. Or broad strikes, where the coin wasn't held in the collar during striking and came out larger and flatter than normal. Even more astonishing are the wrong planchet errors, where a Roosevelt dime design was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a penny or a foreign coin. These are some of the rarest and most valuable error coins in existence. Now imagine this: you're sorting through an old jar of coins. Maybe it's one you inherited from a grandparent, or it's been sitting on a shelf for years. You pull out a 1977 Roosevelt dime. At first, it looks ordinary. But then something catches your eye. Maybe the mint mark looks odd. Maybe the design is misaligned. Maybe it's unusually bright and clean, showing no signs of circulation. That's when the heart starts racing. You take it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. It gets inspected under magnification, tested, evaluated, and finally, it gets a grade. And if it comes back with a high mint state rating, say MS 67 or higher, and includes a rare error or proof designation, you've got something truly special in your hands. Because here's the truth: most coins from 1977 have been worn down, scratched up, and tossed around over the decades. Very few still exist in top-tier condition. Fewer still have visible, documented mint errors. And when rarity meets pristine preservation, you're talking about real, serious value. Collectors pay massive premiums for these coins. The more unique, the more perfect, the more mysterious the minting error, the more competition you'll face at auction. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. After all this history, all the clues, and all the incredible possibilities, we reach the final revelation. A 1977 Roosevelt dime, featuring a rare minting error, exceptional condition, and graded as a top-quality specimen by a professional service, can reach a mind-blowing value of $54,000. That's right. Just 10 cents, turned into $54,000. It's the ultimate reminder that in the world of coin collecting, it's not always the flashiest or biggest pieces that command the highest price. Sometimes, it's the overlooked, the ordinary, the everyday coin that ends up changing someone's life. So, what should you do now? Check your pocket change. Go through that forgotten coin jar. Dig through your old piggy bank or that drawer full of loose coins you haven't touched in years. That one dime, the one you might have been about to spend on a gumball or drop in a donation box, it might just be your golden ticket. And if you find a 1977 Roosevelt dime, look closely. Because who knows, you might be holding the next great treasure. Today's video is a thrilling ride into the world of modern coinage, something often passed from hand to hand, used in vending machines, or tossed into jars without a second thought. But here's the twist: The coin we're discussing today may look like just another everyday dime, yet it holds a story of incredible worth, hidden details, and jaw-dropping value. Yes, we're talking about the 2001 Roosevelt 1 dime, a small 10-cent coin that, under the right circumstances, can become a hidden gem in your collection. So before you spend your pocket change on your next soda or coffee, you might want to take a closer look. Because that simple dime you carry could be worth much more than you think. Let's start by setting the stage. What was happening in the year 2001? America had just stepped into the 21st century. The internet was growing rapidly, mobile phones were becoming popular, and the world was changing faster than ever before. But in the middle of all that digital transformation, the US Mint continued to do what it had been doing for centuries, striking coins, preserving history in metal, and unknowingly releasing some treasures into everyday circulation. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of American currency since 1946, introduced just months after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was more than just a coin, it was a tribute. Roosevelt had been a strong advocate for the March of Dimes, a campaign that fought against polio and helped countless children across the country. His face on the dime was both symbolic and practical, a daily reminder of what public service and dedication can accomplish. Now, fast forward to 2001. The Roosevelt dime is still being struck, but by then, it's made of a copper core layered with nickel, a cost-effective clad composition that replaced silver decades earlier. While these modern dimes don't have precious metal content, certain ones do have something far more valuable: rarity, uniqueness, and era-driven collectability. Here's where things get exciting. The 2001 Roosevelt dime was struck at several U.S. Mint facilities, and each coin carries a small but important detail, a mint mark, which tells us where it was produced. You might see a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. This one tiny letter, often missed by the untrained eye, can play a big role in determining a coin's desirability and potential worth. But the mint mark is only the beginning. What makes the 2001 Roosevelt dime so interesting isn't just where it was made, but how it was made. That's right, we're talking about minting errors, striking varieties, and ultra-high-grade coins. These are the little quirks and flaws that sneak past quality control and turn a simple dime into a collector's dream. Let's explore the types of errors that can make a 2001 Roosevelt dime incredibly valuable. First, there's the double die error, a situation where the design is struck more than once slightly off, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. This is one of the most sought-after errors in all of coin collecting. Next, we have the off-center strike. These coins were misaligned during the striking process and ended up with the design shifted significantly to one side. The more off-center the coin is, while still showing the date, the higher its potential value. Another exciting possibility is the no-edge reading error. Roosevelt dimes are supposed to have ridges, also known as reeds, around their edge. But occasionally, a coin is struck without these ridges. When this happens, it raises serious collector interest. Then, there are planchet errors, such as wrong metal planchets or clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting mistake during production. Imagine a dime struck on a penny blank, or a coin that's been trimmed in a crescent shape. These are very rare, and very valuable, but error coins are not the only stars here. Another big factor is condition. If a coin has never been used, meaning it hasn't circulated at all, it can be given a high mint state, MS, grade by coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Coins graded MS 67, MS 68, or even higher can fetch massive premiums, especially if they are from a common year but in uncommon condition. So how do you know if your 2001 Roosevelt dime is valuable? Start by checking the mint mark. Look at the overall condition. Is it scratched, dirty, worn down? Or does it still shine like it was just minted? Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to examine details closely. Look for doubling on the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. Examine the torch, the olive branches, and the lettering on the reverse. If something seems off, unusual, or simply too perfect, you might have something special. That's when you send it in to be graded and authenticated. And this step matters, because professional grading separates the true treasures from the lookalikes. It confirms rarity, validates condition, and, most importantly, protects your investment. Once your coin is authenticated and graded, it can be listed in auctions, sold to collectors, or kept as a crown jewel in your personal collection. And if it turns out to be one of the rare few, with either a dramatic error or a flawless finish, you might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. Now, let's take a moment to imagine it. You're sifting through a box of old coins. Maybe they came from your grandfather's drawer, or maybe you just scooped them up at a garage sale. You hold up a dime from 2001. It feels ordinary, until you notice a slight doubling in the date. It's still shiny, the lines are sharp, and the torch on the back is perfectly defined. You send it in for grading, and weeks later, the results are in. The coin is verified as a rare double die mint error, in uncirculated condition, and certified mint state 68. Suddenly, your 10-cent piece is no longer worth 10 cents. It's worth a fortune. And just how much, you ask? Well, one of the finest examples of the 2001 Roosevelt dime, with rare mint characteristics and verified grading, has been valued at $30,000. Yes, you heard that right, 30,000 United States dollars, for a dime. That's why the world of coin collecting is so magical. It reminds us that hidden treasures still exist. That history can live in your pocket. And that sometimes, the smallest things can carry the biggest surprises. So the next time you get change from a store, or open that old coin jar, take a closer look. That 2001 Roosevelt dime could be your unexpected jackpot. Today, we're diving into a coin that many of us have handled, traded, or even lost in our car seats, the United States Roosevelt $1 dime from the year 2005. At first glance, it looks just like any other dime. Light in weight. Silver in color. Just 10 cents of face value. But what if I told you this dime, yes, this 2005 Roosevelt dime, could be worth far more than that? What if this little piece of metal could sell for thousands upon thousands of dollars under the right circumstances? Would you check your pocket right now? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how this common-looking coin can turn into an ultra-valuable collectible, and you'll know exactly what to look for. Let's go back for a moment and talk about where this coin fits in the bigger picture of American numismatic history. The Roosevelt Dime series began in 1946, created as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Not only was he a towering figure in American politics, but he was also the face of the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio. His portrait on the dime wasn't just a design choice, it was a symbol of gratitude and remembrance. His legacy lives on in every Roosevelt dime ever minted since then. Fast forward to the year 2005. America is changing rapidly. Digital culture is booming, the world is becoming more connected than ever, but through it all, coins remain a part of our everyday lives. The U.S. Mint continues to produce millions of dimes annually, most of which pass from person to person unnoticed. But not all of them are created equal. And that's where this story begins. The 2005 Roosevelt dime was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each producing millions of coins. These mints are identified by a tiny mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. You'll find the mint mark just above the date on the obverse side, tucked neatly near Roosevelt's neckline. Now, the average 2005 Roosevelt dime you find in change is worth 10 cents, nothing more. But every now and then, something extraordinary slips past the strict quality controls at the U.S. Mint. These are errors, rare varieties, and high-grade specimens, and they are what turn ordinary coins into treasures. Let's break down what exactly can make the 2005 Roosevelt dime a jackpot find. First up, mint errors. These are mistakes that occur during the minting process. They include things like double die obverse, where the design is accidentally stamped twice, creating a ghost-like doubling of the date or lettering. If you ever find a 2005 Roosevelt dime with clearly doubled inscriptions, especially around, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," you may be holding something highly collectible. Next, there's the off-center strike error. These coins are misaligned when struck, causing the design to appear shifted or partially missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, and if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another error to look for is the clipped planchet. These coins appear as if a chunk has been cut out of them. This happens when the blank metal disc, or planchet, is mispunched at the mint. The error is easily recognizable, and collectors absolutely love these kinds of imperfections, but wait, it gets better. Some 2005 Roosevelt dimes were struck on foreign planchets, meaning they were accidentally minted using blanks intended for other coins or other countries. These dimes often weigh less than usual or sound different when dropped. If you have a coin that feels off, it might just be a wrong planchet error, and that's a big deal. Still with me? Good. Because here comes the next factor: condition. Even without an error, condition can make or break a coin's value. Coins that have never been used, meaning they haven't circulated through cash registers or pockets, are called uncirculated. These are the shiny, perfect coins that get graded on a scale called the Sheldon scale. The higher the number, the better the condition, with MS 70, mint state 70, being flawless. If your 2005 Roosevelt dime grades MS 66, MS 67, or MS 68, it can be worth way more than face value. These high-grade coins are highly sought after because they're so rare. Even though millions of dimes were made in 2005, only a tiny fraction exist in perfect or near-perfect condition today. So how can you check? Start by examining your dime under a bright light or with a magnifying glass. Does it have sharp details? No scratches, nicks, or signs of wear? Does the surface still shine brilliantly? If so, you could be holding an uncirculated coin. And that means it's time to consider professional grading. Send it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts will inspect every microscopic detail and assign a grade. If it comes back with a high mint state rating, congratulations, you now own a coin that is likely worth many times its face value. Now, imagine the excitement. You're going through your old change, looking through a forgotten coin jar, or helping a relative clean out an attic. You come across a 2005 Roosevelt dime. You flip it over and examine it carefully. You see a subtle doubling in the lettering. The surface is practically flawless. The strike is sharp. Your heart starts to race. You send it in for grading, and the results come back that it's a rare double die obverse, graded MS 68 by PCGS. Suddenly, your little 10-cent coin isn't just a coin anymore. It's a collector's prize. A numismatic treasure. A conversation starter. And yes, it's a source of serious cash. So, what's the potential value of this 2005 Roosevelt dime in such a condition? One of the finest examples known, featuring a rare error and nearly perfect grade, was sold in the collector's market for a stunning $35,600. Yes, you heard that correctly. $35,600 United States dollars, for a dime. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It's like a treasure hunt where the prize could be hiding in your kitchen drawer, in a forgotten shoebox, or in a handful of change from the grocery store. So don't underestimate the humble Roosevelt dime. Especially the ones from 2005. Examine them closely. Learn what to look for. Take a chance and get it graded. Because what appears to be spare change might just change your life. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more rare coin stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big discovery. We bring you real coin values, unbelievable finds, and everything you need to know about coins that could be worth thousands. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, and some of those stories are worth a fortune. Until next time, happy hunting.